Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a two-part video series. So we'll have a video today and then I'll have to do another video tomorrow on the end product. But we are going to make some shirts. So these are the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need some soda ash, some washable markers. You're going to need a pair of scissors, some needles, and some coated dental floss. Doesn't have to be anything expensive, the cheap stuff will do. You're going to need some 100% cotton shirts in whatever size that you're wanting to work with. They can be the V-neck or they can be the regular crew necks, whichever you prefer, but make sure they are 100% cotton. So we have that. You're going to need a cutout of whatever shape that you want to work with. You're going to need a place where you can work. Make sure you're not going to worry about it getting ruined. This is just an old tablecloth, so we're going to protect it with a trash bag or a piece of plastic. You're going to need plenty of Walmart bags, or you can use Ziploc bags also. And then, most of all, more importantly, you are going to need some tie-dye. Whatever colors you want to use. I just bought this pack, which comes with a little bit of everything. If I can get it open. You are also going to need some rubber gloves, unless you don't mind being tie-dyed American hands. Waxed is what I was looking for. Your waxed dental floss, and you're going to need a bleach pen and some rubber bands, and that should cover everything. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, the place I went to Yahoo and just typed in what I was looking for, and you can print it out, or in my case I traced it. I cheated. And you're just going to cut this out because we're going to have to draw these on the shirts, and I will show you that process here in just a moment. Okay, so there is our cutout. I did cut it out on paper, but you may want to use cardboard because when we go to trace around this later with the bleach pen, you may want something just a little bit more sturdy to actually work with. Technically, you should really soak your shirts before we do this. Use your soda ash. It helps with the collar and everything on the shirts, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to work on dry shirts and then soak them. So this will be the first time I've done it this way. We will see how they turn out. Worst case scenario, I just got to redo them. It is tie-dye, so yeah, should be fun. So what we're going to do is, just lay our shirt out flat. Make sure you get it centered. You are going to take your cutout and place it where you want it to be on your shirt. This was the only cheap pack of washable markers I could find. But what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the lighter colors. It is washable, but I like to err on the side of caution. So just take a light color. This doesn't need to show up later. It just needs to be on there long enough for you to get the design so you know where to sew your floss around. So we're just going to take our marker and trace around it, and then we're going to take our floss and we're going to sew that. So I will be right back in just a moment. Okay, so once you get that drawn on your shirt, like I said, just make sure you line it up where you want it on the shirt. I did use a lighter collar. These are washable, so they should come out. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to sew both pieces together because I want the back to be different. This is just going to be on the front, so we're just going to lift the two pieces of shirt apart and then sew around this design. And then I will be right back. Okay, now I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just doing a really quick running stitch through the line that we drew on the shirt. Make sure, as you can see, I got it separated into just the front of the shirt right here. So just do a really quick running stitch all the way around. Make sure you leave a tail back here at the end. I'm starting down at the bottom of my design. That way I can pull it all together and tie it off in a few minutes. So bear with me just a moment. One thing I wanted to point out while I'm doing this, since my design does have corners in it, just make sure, if yours has corners, that you put a stitch right in that corner. That way you can draw it nice and tight. Okay? Okay. So we sewed all the way around, and I left my ends untied so I can show you what we're going to do. So it started out this big, if you can kind of get a heads up on that one. Okay, so it started out this big, and this is how big it ends up being. And this is a size 2XL. So, okay. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to pull these two tight and tie it off and put a rubber band around it, and then we will soak it in our soda ash water before we go any further. I just wanted to make sure. I don't know if this is going to have any difference on it. Some of the other ones that I've seen made do it differently. I'm trying it. It can't do no more than not working. I have to use a little more bleach, right? So the reason we're using the waxed floss is because if we use thread, regular thread, it would actually hold on to the collar, and it would give you extra spots where you didn't want the collar to be. So, excuse me. So now what we're going to do, like I said, we're just going to take and cinch it all completely as tight as we can get it, tie it off, wrap it around, and then get a rubber band and put around it really good. And then go ahead and do the rest of our shirts. I do have 10 more shirts to do, so I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. It's been my experience when you're tie-dyeing, the tighter you do your tie-offs, or in this case your rubber bands, the more white actually shows up through there. Ideally, I would like a little bit more white around the design. That will equal less bleaching. So hopefully, if I did this right, it'll come out pretty clean on the design, and then the rest of it, when we do the swirls or whatever designs we do, those won't be as tight. But right here where the design is, I wanted to make sure there was a nice decisive difference between the design and whatever else is going on with the shirt. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and tie all the rest of these off, and then we will soak them, and I'll show you how we're going to tie them off after that. Okay? Alright, so add your soda ash to your water. I'm using hot water. And just follow the directions on the package. It says to let it soak for about 20 minutes, then wring it out, do not rinse it, and then you will go straight into the tie-dyeing. So while this is soaking, I'm going to go ahead and start working on some of the other shirts, and then we'll get back to how we tie this off and dye it. Okay, be right back. Okay, so the shirts have soaked, and we've wrung them out. You don't want them dry to the touch, but you don't want them dripping either. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to straighten this out, and I will show you how we're going to turn it. It should take no more than, I want to say, 5 rubber bands per shirt. That includes the one that you put around your design. It can take less, it could take more depending upon how much collar you want to put. We're going to do this one in a swirl. So if you hold on just one moment, I will show you how we do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab the design, and then we're just going to take the shirt after we've straightened it out, and we're just going to twist. And just keep twisting until you get it all the way twisted. keeping your design up out of the twist. The tighter you make it, the more white you're going to have on your shirt. And you don't want to make this too super white. You want a lot of color on your shirt. So we're going to kind of leave this a little loose. So just twist at the end, just fold it around. Make sure you keep your design up out of there. These rubber bands are really tight, so I don't think we're going to use a full 5 rubber bands. So, alright, we're going to crisscross our design. Making sure the design stays in the middle. Actually, let's do it a little bit closer, and then this one's just a little bit closer. So we're going to use 4 rubber bands total for this shirt. Each shirt's going to be different. No 2 shirts will ever be exactly the same. Alright, so after you get that done, just fudge your rubber bands just a little bit to get them where you want them, so that you have somewhat even triangles. Then we're going to collar this last. Okay, so hold just one moment. One more thing I didn't mention earlier with the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need paper towels or a towel or a rag that you don't care if it gets tie-dyed. I personally don't mind tie-dye, so I'm just going to use one of my rags. But on this shirt we're going to use 2 different colors. We're going to use a dark blue and a yellow. Just use warm water when you're mixing these. And then be very careful because it will be messy. Just take your shirt. Try to only touch the ones where the collars are going to go. That way you don't get a muddy tie-dye effect. So we're going to do the light collar first, and we're going to really saturate that triangle. We want a lot of collar, remember. The less collar you use, the more white your shirt's going to be. Make sure you get both sides. And then we're going to skip one and go to the next one. These little bottles don't hold a lot, so you're not going to get... These are big shirts. This is a 2XL. So you're not going to get a lot of shirts out of these little bottles. So keep that in mind when you are trying to decide which collars to use. Okay, that is all for my yellow. Now we're going to take the dark blue and dye the other 3 triangles. Again, you want to make sure you saturate fully. If you have a little bit of white, that's fine, but you want a lot of color. You don't want to have a shirt, unless of course you like that, but you don't want to have a shirt that has almost all white and very little collar. So make sure you get in to all the creases and crevices that you can get into. Then very last thing is your design. So in this case we're going to make a blue design. Saturate that completely. That is the one thing on this shirt that you want to be completely solid on the collar. Make sure you collar around the rubber band down there. And he is done. Alright, so now you're going to take, if you did the same collar for your design as one of the collars on your shirts, you're going to take that and just lay it over on that collar for the shirt. That way it doesn't get all muddy. And then you just put it in a bag, set it to the side, and then move on to your next shirt. That is it. That's going to be all for this video. I'll have to do another video of the finished product, but yeah, that is all you do to do the tie-dye for your shirts. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.